Turf Wars, The Legend of Korra first graphic novel, is where my problems with the graphic novels finally bubbled over. Because as much as I could let it go eventually for all the others, at this point this was the 7th graphic novel for all of the Avatar world, and the same problems that I had with the Avatar graphic novels also appeared in Legend of Korra's. And at that point, I was just a little bit fed up. So let me explain why Turf Wars is just really not good. Now, I'm not saying that all the other Avatar graphic novels were better, because honestly, they are all on the same level as Turf Wars to me. Ironically, Turf Wars I think is actually slightly higher than some others because of the fact that it does cover some interesting topics, but just like with The Promise in the video I did for that, Turf Wars had the potential, it just didn't reach it. And in this case, I think also it's due to the fact that seemingly the Legend of Korra graphic novels are slightly shorter. I could be wrong, but they definitely felt shorter in terms of, the storylines that were going on there. I think there were some sweeter moments and some more memorable moments, but this is coming from someone who is a Korrasami shipper. So seeing Korrasami's relationship finally become canon and them getting to come out and all these sort of things and be open about their relationship, absolutely loved. I mean, I've got my Korrasami pops here as well. But that part, as much as I loved it, led to the fact that the main conflict of the story didn't have enough room to breathe and exist. And again, just like with The Promise, it was a big storyline that just didn't have room to grow, or the focus it needed to grow. A lot was going on, and I think that's the problem with these graphic novels as a whole, is a lot of things happen and a lot of it never gets resolved. In the case of Turf Wars, we have not only gangs rising up and fighting over turf, we also have capitalism being a problem when it comes to the new spirit portal, where this rich geezer wants to own the land and turn the spirit portal into an amusement park because he owns the land. We also have various different things going on with the Korrasami relationship alongside this. The fact that Asami is kidnapped by one of the gang leaders at one point, and then another one. There's just a lot. We also then have spirit problems going on because the spirits are unhappy with the fact that this capitalist asshole is trying to own the spirit portal and then the spirits in an amusement park style, which then leads to the villain of this graphic novel being made because he believes Korra egged one of the spirits on to change him into a half spirit. It's very messy. And again, it's a recurring theme for a lot of the graphic novels. Much of the stories are kind of a little bit all over the place. Turf Wars, I think, for me, was just more obvious because of the fact that it was so much of a recurring theme. And the fact that, because this was the first Legend of Korra one, I kind of hoped for something a bit more. But because we didn't get that, I became more aware of it and just kind of got tired. Did I still buy them? Of course. I love Avatar, especially Legend of Korra. But I couldn't ignore the problems with the graphic novel stories. Again, interesting concepts. Too many being used at once. What really, in my mind, should have happened for the Legend of Korra graphic novels is have the first graphic novel focus on the aftermath of the war with Kuvira, which should have been the first thing. I know we get the Ruins of the Empire one later on, but again, did a video on that. Not good. But also the spirit portal and the effects of that. That really should have been the focus for this one. Then do another graphic novel series focusing specifically on the gang wars and the rising crime and the fact that, we have refugees who can't live where they used to live because of this new spirit portal. Even within that, you can focus on the political aspects of things, because we do end up with, in this, I think it's this graphic novel as well, Zhu Li trying to become president and Raiko being an asshole, which is like his whole thing. But again, there's just so much happening, and so many of these things could have been their own stories. Gangs in one, spirits in another. Put the political aspect in some of them. Technically, you could put the political aspect in with both the spirit aspect and the gang aspect, because someone could be trying to use the fact that there is more increase in crime to try and persuade voters to vote for them, being like, hey, I'll crack down on crime, and the other person being like, no, you won't, because the problem with this rising crime, and then all that sort of stuff, like leaning to the political aspects with it, but don't do all of it in one graphic novel. There was so much story potential. It was just too overcrowded. And a same thing happened in Ruins of the Empire. Too overcrowded. We've got an attempt at a Kuvira redemption, Kuvira's trial. We've got Prince Wu trying to do a democratic process for the Earth Kingdom. The fact that there is then a bad guy brainwashing people who's then also trying to become leader of one of these cities. It's just too much, too crowded, too much. And it's just disappointing, because the Avatar world has so many interesting concepts and stories that you could focus on. I mean, we've got the novels for Kyoshi and Yang Chen, who cover so many interesting things, and still manage to focus on one or two things specifically within those novels without taking too many huge aspects and trying to shove it all into one book. And they're a book, they're already longer, and they're not even covering half the amount of things that the graphic novels are trying to. And it's confusing to me why they are trying to put so much into one story when there is the potential for multiple graphic novels. Not that we seem to be getting a third one from Legend of Korra anyway, but it's a similar issue with all of the graphic novels. We've not had another Avatar one in ages. We've been getting these standalone ones, but I feel like it's almost similar to what's been happening with me, where there is almost disinterest in the graphic novels these days because the writing within them is not as strong as people are used to for the world of Avatar. And I think it's unfortunate, because there is a lot of possibility within these graphic novels. They just don't seem to be given the chance to use it, because they're condensing so much into one story. And Turf Wars for me is just a huge prime example that most people can point to. So it's just disappointing. And as much as I did enjoy Turf Wars elements and also the art style, but lots of people hated the art style, which is disappointing because I thought it was quite nice. But anyway, it was the final straw for me as a fan of graphic novels for Avatar. I do, again, continue to buy them and continue to read them, but I don't read them as much or with as much interest as I would if I were reading the novels, for example. But that's just me. What about you guys? Did you enjoy Turf Wars? Are you enjoying the graphic novels from the world of Avatar? Do you agree with me on the fact that there is just too much happening in these stories that could have been broken up into others? Whatever the case, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. As always, be sure to hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, share with your friends. Check me out on Patreon if you want to get early access to these videos, as well as my podcast, which will be starting up again in September. Check out my books as well. I have a new book coming soon, if not out already, depending on when this video goes up. It is the Into the Wild series, a Tarzan sapphic novel series. So yeah, check it out, enjoy my content, subscribe again, and thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.